Greetings everyone and welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Well, not technically a figure. Today we're going to be looking at a vehicle, and that vehicle is the heavy armoured locomotive. Yeah, unusual, I know. From a company I've never really heard of before, Special Figures. But what we're actually looking at here is the Lawmaster from the 2020 Dredd film, starring Carl Urban, directed by Pete Travers. Big fan of Dredd, I have been since I was a youngster. Massive fan of the comics, not a massive fan of the Stallone take on Judge Dredd, but a huge fan of the 2020 Carl Urban take on Judge Dredd. And in my opinion, one of those films one of the best films never to get a sequel, up there with John Carpenter's The Thing. A real shame, due to some bad marketing and a problematic release date. It ended up getting released at the same time as, or just prior to, I think, or was it just after? I'd have to double check. The Raid, which has a similar plot line, even though Dredd did it first, and all these things sort of combined to see it not get the recognition it deserves. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend seeing it. I believe this figure was made to sort of go with the art figures take on Judge Dredd, which tied in with that film. I do have that figure. There is a review for it on the channel if you're wanting to have a closer look at it. We will be bringing it out later on in the review to see how the two go together. But before we dive into the usual format, which will be the having a look at the box, then having a look at the figure itself, the bike itself, and then over to the detail to see how it displays under the detail lights, I'd just like to say an enormous thank you to everybody who has commented, liked, subscribed to the channel. A huge shout out to everybody for supporting us here. It means an awful lot. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, so you don't miss any more of the future stuff that we've got coming up. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into the box itself. It's a big one, as you can imagine, with it being a 6 scale vehicle. Relatively straightforward. There's nothing too fancy in the box itself. Relatively, I won't say cheap card, but it's not. We're not looking at, say, something of Hot Toys caliber of packaging, but it's a third party, so we'll let them off. It says heavy armoured locomotive, which is a hell of a mouthful, so I'm going to stick with Lawmaster. Special Figures up at the top, in the top left-hand corner here, we've got a shot of the bike itself. The website down here for Special Figures, heavy armoured locomotive plastered all over it. Yeah, nothing too fancy, relatively straightforward. What we got on the top, this box is big, so bear with me. It says heavy armoured locomotive again, plastered across the top. There's a warning. The warning's on the bottom here. Don't attempt to steal the judge's 6 scale bike, or you'll be doing 5 to 10 in an ISO cube. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've got on the side here, I'll try and spin this round, but it is enormous. On the side here, we've got another sort of more of an aerial shot of the bike itself. Interestingly enough, on this side, which is they did a gold and red version of this, which they sort of paired up with Iron Man 6 scale figures in when the figure was released itself. I'm assuming that was when Iron Man was at his zenith of popularity. Weird is all I'm going to say on that one. It just looks plain odd. A Lawmaster in gold and red with an Iron Man figure that Iron Man never rode a bike. It's just strange. It's one of those weird things, but I'm assuming they were just trying to jump onto the Iron Man gravy train. Did you see what I did there? Gravy train, locomotive. Swiftly moving on. Yeah, that's the box. So without further ado, we'll get the Lawmaster out. We'll get him down on the table and we'll take a look at what this thing's all about. Okay, so here he is, the Lawmaster himself, Judge Dredd's bike, out of the box, onto the turntable. Just about fits with a little bit of finagling. I have to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't topple over on us. But yeah, before we dive into taking a closer look at the bike itself, I'd just like to say a big thank you to the gentleman collector who provided me with this rather nice piece. He shall remain anonymous, but I know he'll be watching this review. Yeah, a huge shout out to him. It came to me pre-owned because it was only relatively recently I became aware of its existence. Had I known about it sooner, I would have been all over it. But yeah, big thank you to the collector who provided me with this figure, the bike rather. So yeah, let's take a closer look at Special Toys' take on the Lawmaster from the Dredd film. First impressions are pretty good. It's all plastic as far as I can tell. There are no metal parts that I've spotted yet. I could be wrong. Not particularly heavy, which is good, which is useful in the display. So there's not a vast amount of heft to it, but yeah. First impressions are excellent. They've got that the shape is true to the film. That fairing in particular, the guns on the front, the overall shape, the overall presentation of it. Yeah, it does smack of a certain amount of screen accuracy. There are a couple of things that I've picked up on. But they're minor things, really. But what we'll do next is we'll stop him spinning, we'll get him off the turntable, and we'll have a closer look at the details. Okay, so we've got the Lawmaster off the turntable and down onto the table itself. And obviously the first thing to note is how it's supporting itself. It does have a kickstand, spring-loaded kickstand on the bottom there. Just simply clips back up in underneath the bike itself. Folds down and rests on it. So we've got no issues with it toppling over if you're going to have it in your display. So yeah, a good start. Let's take a look around it. Where should we start? This thing is quite large, but yeah, as I mentioned before, screen accuracy is pretty much up there. The colouring's right. The bike in the film. I mean, I've seen this film on several occasions, and the colouring is pretty much spot on. It's matte black throughout. If we just lean it over a little bit here, put that kickstand away for a second. There are some other elements to it. You've got the matte black on the fairing, which runs down the entire body and the rear of the bike. There's a high gloss black on the front mudguard. The paintwork here is actually quite nice. The front disc brake is a nice shiny silver, once again all plastic, I believe, and there's a gold caliper painted underneath there. I don't know whether the camera's picking that up. I'll just lean that over a little bit, bring him into camera a bit more. I don't know whether you're getting that. The exhausts themselves underneath here have got a nice metallic paint wash to them, with some brass gold coloured joints on there. The engine casing itself is matte black with silver on the nuts there on the outside of the housing. There's a little bit of weathering on this section here, which looks like the chain housing. There's some what looks like brown dry brushing. I may very well weather this. I think it could probably do with a little bit of weathering, just to dirty it up a little bit. There is some weathering on the metallic elements of the gun here. It's not all matte black. They look like there's been some maybe grey silver washes on there in the crevices, just to give it that metallic feel. Let's move around to the back of the bike. These wheels are all solid rubber as well. It's good to know. Maybe they could do with a bit of dirtying up as well, but not too much, but just a little bit, I think. But yeah, I believe this chain moves. I'm not going to attempt this on camera, but having seen other reviews of this, I believe this chain moves, but it is rather flimsy, so I'm not going to attempt that on camera. This is the first time I've seen this, so bear with me. That matte black is continued down the back of the bike, over the exhaust housing. It looks like there's some metallic paint washes on the exhaust there. Herein lies one of the screen inaccuracies. I believe the actual chain housing itself was covered on the Lawmaster in the Dredd film, but that's a minor thing. These foot pegs are static; they don't move up or down. Yeah, let's bring it round and take a look at the back. Rear lights here. I'm not sure whether they light up. There is a light up function, which we'll take a look at soon. Another one of the inaccuracies, I believe, as well, is that they're although there is, and I'll bring it round this side so you can take a look. We'll put that kickstand down again on the other side. Just bear with me. If I've got this the right way around, I have. So I'm not holding it all the time. We'll put that kickstand down so you can get a better view. Yeah, I believe that they've got the gold Dredd symbol here, the judge symbol rather, and I believe there was one on the rear of the bike itself, somewhere around this area. Yeah, a nitpick, a minor gripe. On the whole, this really is very, very good. Not this. I mean, obviously it's a third party, so we're not talking the same build quality as, say, a Hot Toys or something of that ilk. But for a third party and for its age, this is very, very good. And hats off to the previous owner for keeping it in such wonderful condition before entrusting it to me. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to see here. It's relatively simple. I mean, the handlebars are nicely done. I'll see if I can get those into shot a bit more. The paintwork's quite nice. You've got silver, the silver paintwork on the brakes and the clutch. The handlebars themselves, I believe, do move. Yeah, and they do actually turn the front wheel, which is nice. It's good to see. There is a screen on the top here, which I believe is just a sticker by the looks of it. We've got the petrol cap, which is painted in silver. The seat itself is one piece of sculpted plastic. Yeah, it's a relatively simple design, but this is what appeals to me about this this take on the Lawmaster, is that it's probably it's quite simple and it's functional. There was no fuss in the Dredd film, for those who've seen it. Those who haven't, I do suggest you seek it out. It was very, what's the word I'm looking for, utilitarian, and gave it a grounding in reality that maybe the original comic books didn't have, and most certainly the Stallone version of Dredd most certainly didn't. But this is what I like about it. It actually looks like it is a functioning bike rather than as something that is totally non-grounded in reality. But yeah, there you have it. That is the Lawmaster by Special Toys. Let's just check this light up function. If you, I'm going to be really careful with this because the plastic does feel quite, I'm not saying cheap, that's the wrong word, but let's say delicate. It feels like this could easily be broken. So yeah, I'm going to exercise some caution. There is a little battery compartment down here at the bottom, which clips out. I believe it takes button cell batteries. There were already some in when I got it, so I couldn't tell you what the actual battery types are. But yeah, it's a very, very simple function. It's simply an on and an off. Once you've got the batteries in place, this switch is quite stiff. But once you've got it on, I believe I think it's just the front headlight that lights up. Yeah, there you go. I don't think there's any other light up function, but that's a nice touch. It's there, you know, not something I would normally display. It's not like, say, the Tron light cycle where I would have batteries in there because that's part of its appeal. But this is just a nice add-on if you're wanting to use it, and it's quite bright, that LED. I'll avoid getting it straight in the camera, but there you have it. That is the Special Toys Lawmaster from the Dredd film. So without further ado, what we're going to do is get it over into Detolf. We're going to bring out the Art Figures Dredd and have a look around and see how these two display together. So without further ado, it's over to the Detolf. Okay, so here we are over at the Detolf with the Special Figures Lawmaster from Judge Dredd. So how does this piece of heavy machinery display? I'm quite impressed, I have to say. The screen accuracy is there. The build quality is pretty good. The paint applications are good, although it could use a bit of weathering, as we spoke about down on the table. I think on the whole, apart from a couple of little things that detract from the screen accuracy, on the whole, they really, really have captured the the spirit of the Lawmaster from the movie itself really, really well. Let's just have a quick look around this. The paint applications are nice. The quality of the materials is very, very good. Yeah, just the whole thing works. And as I say, for a third party, I think they've done a pretty good job here. I'm very impressed. I'm liking this a lot. The presence is there. The overall look is there. It's just a very, very good rendition of the Lawmaster itself. And the light up feature is just a sort of the icing on the cake, really. So that's how the bike displays on its own. I think it's about time that we brought out Dredd himself, the art figures Dredd, and see how these two work together. We'll go out in a little showcase of the figure and the bike in a few different poses to see how they work together. So I suppose all that remains for me to say is thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment in the comment section below. So you don't miss anything that's coming up. Please subscribe to the channel. What have we got coming up? Well, in the not too distant future, just arrived, and we've been waiting for this for a while, is the Blitzway Prime Studios Alan Ripley quarter scale statue. So that'll be coming up for review very shortly. We've got the XO6 Picard from season 3 of Picard. That's coming up. Present Toys take on Humongous from Mad Max 2. We'll be looking at that pretty soon. We've got a Grail piece coming in. It's the Hot Toys, Alan Dutch Schaefer from Predator. That's been a long time coming, that piece. We've got Dead Strange from Hot Toys as well. We've got Y Studios' take on Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mr. J, Mars Toys, the Joker, all those are coming up. And lots of retro reviews as well. So as I say, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. So from me, from Dredd, and from the Lawmaster, look after yourselves and happy collecting.